So for example, I'll bring out one issue that is happening here and you tell me, you dissect it for me. Where is it right and where is it wrong? Americans are fighting over the idea of a concise, closed nationality as Americans, or the other side is screaming and want to have open borders. Our communities are literally like torn from each other over many issues, but this is one of them, all right? So because of that, I don't know if you watch anything or news or this or that, you will hear lots of stuff talked about immigration, illegal immigration, who's American, who's not American, so forth and so on. You hear that outside. Okay, so you have the lump sum of an idea what they are both saying. Tell me where both of them are right or wrong, according to my writings, not what you like or dislike personally. Well, our personal dislike and like and dislike should not be any different from what Baha'u'llah says anyway. But lots of times we don't know what Baha'u'llah says, so we run after our own things. But according to the writings, tell me what idea out of that should emerge that is closer to the writings the way we understand them today.
Couple of things. One is Baha'u'llah says the world is one country. However, there's also saying we need to be obedient to the law of the land. We have the jurisdictions that are set for administrative purposes. So, practically on that plane, there will need to be some law and order and some discipline, is what I
Yes,
conceive.
wonderful. Anything else? Anybody else wants to add? Can we have open borders then? If it's one country and mankind is citizens, can just no borders should be there? Like people should be free to do whatever they want? Is that what writings talk?
It will take time.
Okay, so if it will take time, are you saying that one day it will be that way or must be that way? Is that what the writings are talking about? Because if it takes time, then the matter is not if it takes time or not. The matter is if the thing is right or not. If it's right, then it's right now. Because of our capacities and not understanding is not happening is a different issue. What is right at all times, is right now. But okay, we cannot accomplish it, someday we'll accomplish it. Is that what the writings are talking about?
No, we have to protect our borders, right? So when you're protecting our borders, then you have your nationality. Only thing that you won't go for war, but when someone, like for example, in India immigration, we have the Bangladesh problem that is coming. All the Bangladesh is gone.
Yeah.
So then when you're coming, like as Farzana said, that you should see whether it's legalized, whether you have the proper documents and all that stuff. And then when they're coming, you abide by the law of the land. Like, it's not like they are different, you're refugees and you're putting them out or something. If the capacities that they can earn, they can have a livelihood in India like any other Indians, then give them that opportunity. So as far as they are following the law of the land, like you don't bring your thing here in India. Like the Indian constitution talks something. If you're okay with it, then well and good.
Yeah. Perfect. So Baha'u'llah says the earth is but one country and mankind is citizen. That's how we look at each other from the non-prejudice point of view. An Indian is not better than an American, and an American is not better than an Indian. Materially, yes, huge difference. As a human being, if an Indian is a better character, then Indian is a better person than an American. That American might be much more richer than an Indian. And if a very rich American is better character and a very poor Indian is vile and evil and criminal, then poverty is not a badge we wear on our shoulders either. We often look at that very wrongly as well, right? That as if that the poor people are always good. No. And Baha'u'llah talks about that. If a poor person steals a penny and a rich person only gives it out, then a poor person is criminal and the rich person is not. Even though he just stole a penny, he's criminal. Right? So what is righteous is same for all of us. What is criminal is same for all of us. That is another equality in the eyes of God and in justice. Make sense? So regardless of where we belong, what God still looks at it and what we should look at it, a person's character on a personal individual basis. On an administrative national basis, God says what? It's not forbidden to love your country, but he's asked to love everyone. It's not forbidden. It's a righteous thing to love your country, but don't hate others, right? I'm paraphrasing all of this thing. That's what writings teach us. It's okay to love your country, but don't be so blindly nationalistic that now you hate everybody else who is around and just me. That's not allowed. But love for your country is a natural thing, Baha'u'llah says. It's a natural thing for a human being, same as we love our family. It's impossible to ask me to not love my family and love others. I cannot love others if I don't love my family. I learn what love is from loving my family. Then if my family is rotten and this and that and the other, that grows in a whichever direction. And that grows on that direction because depending on our characters. But first and foremost, we do love our own children more. We are responsible towards our own children and our own immediate family more. If you have money and somebody's suffering, your first obligation is towards your immediate kin. Once you are dealt with them and you're just with that, then you expand outside. Knowledge-wise, your own self first, your own family, then your own community, then your own city, then your own country, then the globe. Guardian's very clear about that too, right? Even for any kind of transformation or any kind of help, it starts here first. So then Baha'u'llah says, fix your borders, right? Fix your borders and then have no war. And then gives a warning that if somebody does then infringe on rights of another's national borders, then everybody should get together and put it down, right? But fix your borders. Be obedient to the nation under which you live. So there will be nations. At least for this dispensation. We don't know what's coming after the next manifestation. We are not here to judge that. We are not here to live for that. We are here to live what Baha'u'llah gives for his time. His time at least lasts 1,000 years. Abdul Baha says even maybe 5,000 years, whatever that is, right? Until the next manifestation shows up, we are here to live what Baha'u'llah gave. And then what Baha'u'llah gave in the writings, then we need to dissect that and see and kind of get a vision too for what is it talking about. It wouldn't be 100% Baha'i world. There would be countries that wouldn't be Baha'is. There would be rulers and even kings and stuff and all that. We can discern all of that from the writings because the writings call for it, right? So then if I'm Pakistani or you're Indian and I just sneak into your place, I've already broke the rule for your government that says don't sneak into my place. Or vice versa. Don't sneak into my place. If you want to come, ask me you want to come. I'll decide if I let you come or not. It's the same story as my own house is. Any one of you, I love you very much, but yet we don't kind of go like, okay, I'm going to pack my bags and dash into somewhere. Even when you do that to certain relationships, you've already built that relationship where you know that you are allowed, right? I actually know that I can pack my bags and if I can get a visa and buy my ticket, I can come to you, even as a surprise. And you will love that because I wouldn't tell you because I want to surprise you, right? So I didn't ask prior permission because I know that I have prior permission. Same vice versa. If you come this way, same vice versa. But that permission has been built into our relationship. If you didn't have that relationship, you don't just go into anybody's home and say, well, I'm here. Not allowed. Do not enter anybody's home without knocking. The writings say that. Without their permission, don't enter. That is permission. That is your private property laws. All of that is in that sense. What's yours is yours and nobody else has right to it without your permission. Don't take anything from anyone without their permission. So there you are, right? So the countries have their rules and their regulations and their laws. If they're just laws or unjust laws is a different story. Whatever their laws are, I'm bound, humanity is bound by God to be obedient to that. So if I'm breaking that, then the country has the reason and the right to say, no, thank you. We don't want you, right? So then, and here, lots of other issues happen then. So for example, we were just discussing that last night, and I mean, I am first generation immigrant here, legal immigrant. And so I say, like, I brought my capacities, my degrees, everything here, and I benefited the nation by working here, giving my services, paying my taxes and all that, right? But let's say if I came in by wrong means, and then I couldn't stand up on my feet, and this nation had to take care of me, which they do, by the way. Do you think that's fair to the ones that they should be helping? Because your job in your family, first and foremost job is your own family, right? So when you are taking care of it to a good level, and then you have extra, yeah, you should be compassionate and help somebody else. But by the same token, the writings call is what? If it's a liar, don't tell them they're not lying. If it's a thief, there is no compassion, but they should have punishment. So you have a little bit extra and you say, well, I'll forgive the thief and settle them down. That's not real compassion, really, because reward and punishment both needs to happen. The one who broke the law must suffer for it, pay for it. So all of these different issues, when you look at them for what is it the writings are calling for, that very first sort of idea and slogan that happens when we hear the earth is but one country and mankind is citizen, the first slogan that happens to us in first understanding, as if then, everybody should be free to do whatever, right? In my country, I can go wherever. But then you add all the writings to it, to how the globe will look like and how it needs to act, then that thing doesn't work anymore, right? That thing doesn't work anymore. Now, I believe someday it would be the way United States is, because we've been told that that's a model. United States itself is built as a model. What it means is that it's 50 countries together. They're not one country. That's why we say United States. There are 50 states, 50 countries, and they have come together as one continent under a federated system. The writings teach us that's how the globe will be run someday. So each of our state has its own laws. When you say the governor of such and such, that governor is the one that is the top ruler in the state, but executive ruler. Every state has its own Congress that are the lawmakers. Every state has its own Senate. Every state is run exactly the way the federal government runs, but the state runs just for its own state. So if you are then combined as a national, Baha'u'llah talks about international laws. Without international laws, you cannot have the unity that has been called for, right? So then look at the American sample. If it's running perfect, let's say, we do have our problems and it's long ways to go, but we're talking about just basic model to what God has called for. So now you have 50 countries, you do have to do business with each other, you have to go to each other, you have to do all of those things. When it comes from state to state to state, then federal laws come into being. You have federal agencies that can work within inside states, because otherwise, let's say just police. You have Indian police, you have Pakistani police. Pakistani police cannot come to India and Indian police cannot go to Pakistan. If you have the roads back and forth to everything and somebody they committed a crime in your province and they run to Pakistan, you have no recourse for that. We don't have that. So we have a federal, what you call FBI. So if they cross the borders, then that police comes in and it's their job now to take care of it, because the state police cannot go to the other state. Their jurisdiction is only within your state. All of these things have to be learned to see then how the globe will work. Still, each state has its own autonomy. Within their own local things, they can make their own local laws and they can do their own local things. Only when it affects other states and other borders and all that, then they have to be bound by the federal law. So everybody can have a unified place in many ways, right? So all of these things then, yes. So now that America is unified to that level and there is a federal government, we almost don't even think about it. We don't even think about it that we have 50 countries until some law breaks down at that level or this level and discussion happens. They're like, no, you can't touch me here. I'm my own country, right? So you will hear those arguments every now and then between a state or the federal government. So forth and so on, right? But in general, on daily life, we moved. We packed our stuff and we moved and we came to another state where we're living here. Because we're citizen of these 50 states as one citizen. See what Baha'u'llah is talking about? So yes, Earth is but one country and mankind is citizen, and yet we would have all of these hundreds of nations under here. They will have their administrative borders, they will have their own laws, they will have their own governments. And if we can take care of certain type of prejudices, blind nationality, and eliminate war, we could have freer trade among ourselves and a lot more unity. If education is equal in all human beings, every country is striving to give you the basic education Abdul Baha was talking about. Everybody has a same international moral code, same federated moral law, then you're free to go wherever and people won't bother. Because it wouldn't matter. Right now it matters. Right now it affects people's lives. It destroys people's lives. So they have the right to defend their home. Make sense? So then we must, it took me a number of long years to kind of, when our country actually started abrupting, I started looking back into the writings again, and I'm like, wait a minute. Writings are not calling for what the other side of extreme people are saying. We should just have open borders and do whatever. No, you can't just do whatever. Why? Because my country runs on my taxes, right? My country runs on my taxes, meaning the citizens' taxes. Then citizens define to say, okay, we want to do this and this and this for our money, and we can help this and this type of people, right? So let's say you have 10 children and you bring in certain amount of money and you're raising them. Your first duty is to educate them, to feed them, to clothe them, to protect them, to whatever, run a household. Somebody else dumps their 10 children into your home and makes you obliged to take care of them. How would you feel? It's not only that it breaks down the unity in the community, it actually breaks down the system. It doesn't work. Right? But if you had 10 children and you had some other extra income and you decided, you said, you know what, my uncle and aunt or whoever, or even a total stranger, for a Baha'i shouldn't matter, somebody's in need, I can help 2 of their kids too. They have so much burden and all that, I'll help too. Invite them in. You invite them in, they learn what the rules of your household are. They sit in there, they help you, you help them. They're grateful, good people. You will help them. You will raise them up, maybe feed them, educate them, whatever. More humanity God helped than just your own. You made more friends. They saw God's mercy more and gratitude. And humanity God risen up because you were able to help 2 more than your own, right? Everything is beautiful. Compared to somebody forces you to help their 10 kids when you can barely make for your own. It doesn't work, right? So justice then brings unity. Makes sense then? If it's breaking down, then this justice is breaking down at some place core level. If you cannot do justice, then there will be no unity. Make sense? So all of these issues then, this is just one example. Any issue, we can discuss the issues, but discuss them from, first of all, understanding the writings to how they actually are an overall protection for all human beings. But all human beings are, I am not forced to take care of all human beings because I can't. That will really break down. Yes, I'm asked to not be prejudiced. I'm asked to love my fellow being. But then again, it comes down to my resources and what is my first priority. The writings are very clear about that too. Right? We're supposed to love everybody, but God has never said anywhere in here that you should take everybody's kids because they're suffering out there and it's your responsibility to feed them, to raise them. Doesn't. Why doesn't it? I mean, we're Baha'is, we understand that. We should love everybody. Why didn't God force us to do that? Because it cannot be done. Right? So it cannot be done. So in a communist style of thinking, which is forbidden in the writings, where you think that you have compassion, that everybody should have this $200 per month equal, That doesn't work. It's not just, that's why it breaks down. I cannot raise everybody's children. At the same time, I ask to try my best to help as much as I can. As much as I can. That's left to my decision, by the way. All right? God has not dictated in the writings, in my scriptures, to say, okay, if you make $100, you must spend 40 on others. Has said that nowhere. Said that nowhere. He put a thing to say, I need to pay her Coca-Cola, but I need to pay it voluntarily. He didn't even force that onto me. It's my decision. He has put a system in to say this is how your inheritance should look like, but it's not forced onto you. When you leave your will, you can do whatever you want to do with what you made. God has left that to me. Right? So if God has left that to me and did not allow my own institutions to force me into any direction, they can't. The house cannot force you to, you must pay this much money to them. They cannot force you. It's not allowed to them. In the writings, it's written that they're not allowed. They're not allowed to oppress or force anybody. They can do general appeal out there and people decide what they want to do with it. It's written in our scriptures, right? So your top judicial institution cannot force you in those matters. Then why would anybody else, a different person or nationality or somebody else, should force my household how I should be living my life and what should I do with it? Doesn't work.